I need all sorts of feedback, not just the positive. I need the positive. I need the negative. I need the in between because it's going to help me help you. Bottom line. Hi, YouTube, Facebook Live, YouTube. We're good. Ladies and gentlemen, recession signs. Everything about them. More than what you probably heard. The US versus China, Bitcoin, hurricanes, and of course, how it all relates to your trading for the new month ahead. I am Mark Melnick. This is the Newsbeat Show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Newsbeat Show. I have so many great things to talk to you about today. Recession signs, US versus China, Bitcoin, hurricanes, your trading for the month ahead, and why things are just getting heated up now. By watching this video, you agree told me, Mark Melnick, and T3 Live, harmless and not responsible for anything portrayed in this video. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get right to the point. First of all, so many of us are glad the month of August is over. And even though it's been my most consistent month that I can really, in my 20-year career for the month of August alone, the most consistent August I've had, I'm very glad it's over, particularly because I know what's coming back. And I know that the news flow is going to come back in a major way. And this is where a lot of us are going to make huge chunks of our year. Let's just put it that way. And it's really great to have it back. You know, we had it in the beginning of the year, then it slows down during the summertime, especially June, July, August. You know, there's some, you know, great plays that we did take during those months, of course. But for the most part, over my 20 years, August tends to be the choppiest month of trading, with last week being the hardest month of trading in the year. So next year in 2020, for the last week of August, I'll also tell you that that will be the hardest week of the year. So let's just go into it. So we've all heard about the recession risk. You hear it, it's all over the place. You can't avoid it. No matter what you do, you're hearing the recessionary risk. But I just want to point out everything about it, what I think is going to happen, and why you need to know about it, yet not worry about it, all at the same time. So I'm going to start off here with a simple thing. We're going to just start off with this, and it's just simply showing you the number of clicks on Google that were looking up recession on Google Trends from September to May 2019. And you could just, you literally see right here, it's just amazing, this spike up right here with people searching up recession trends on Google. And while that, you know, doesn't really point to recession, it is an interesting thing to look at. So I did want to um, point out for you there that the Google searches show recession fears have spiked exponentially since the end of July, especially after the Fed Reserve cut interest rates for the first time in the financial crisis. This next one, everybody has probably seen before. It is, I'm just showing you, it's, you know, I'm not zooming in on this one per se, but this just basically is a moving chart of the yield curve. And what it basically shows you right here is how the yield curve was moving. And you see February, um, it shows February right here, and then it just keeps going down. You see like how the yield's inverted. Very simple, silly thing right there. Nothing major. We all heard how the yield curve can affect things. Now let's talk about GDP growth. And here's the GDP growth, which, you know, some people are saying this could point to a recession because GDP growth happens to be pretty low coming in right now, especially at 2%. But the truth is, between 2009 and 2016, we've had very low GDP growth with the market going higher. It's not over. The next thing is literally corporate S&P 500 corporate earnings per share estimates, and you could see how they're just being lowered across the board. I mean, the estimates have come down dramatically this year. Last December, analysts said the S&P 500 earnings growth for the year would be around 7.6%, according to FactSet numbers, and that number is now around 2.3%. So they inflated it like 3.5 times over, approximately, a little less than 3.5 times over, with that number coming in a little lower. The recession fears keep piling in. There's more. We have PMI decline, PMI decline, which is of course the purchasing managers index, or the manufacturing PMI, and it was at 49.9 in August, and that's an important number. Why? Because not only was it down from 50.4 in July, which might not sound a lot going from 50.4 to 49.9. However, the reading below 50 is considered bearish. Neutral is 50. So if you're wondering when the PMI was below 50, does anybody want to guess the last time the PMI was below 50? Anyone? It's not a bad guess. Very good, Eddie. Very good, Eddie. September 2009. September 2009 was the last time the Purchasing Managers Index, or the PMI, was below 50. Now, there's still more recession worries, and again, I'm not exactly trying to fearmonger you here, but here's the freight shipment slowdown for some of the shippers. Um, and the outlook for the freight's perspective is looking grim. The CAS, what you're seeing right now is the CAS shipments index fell 5.9% in July, following a 5.3% decline in June and a 6% drop in May. And the July report from the cash shipments index said, "We repeat our message from the last 2 months. The shipments index has gone from warning of a potential slowdown to, to signaling an economic contraction." This is what the report actually said in July. Although the initial Q2 19 GDP was positive, it was not as positive upon dissection, and we see a growing risk that GDP will go negative by the year's end. Okay, now the recession fears are still not over. I'm going to show you more, and then I'm going to just basically explain, like, anybody who's coming out there bearish trying to use data, they're going to refer to these things. Now, how many people have heard the term Dr. Copper before? These are copper prices. How many of you guys have heard the term Dr. Copper? Um, it's called Dr. Copper because it has a PhD in economics. I kid you not. That's why it's known as a barometer of economic health, because of its use in, of course, home building, commercial construction, etc. The commodity is down over 13% in the last half year. The breakdown in copper in August was by far the most important development, and markets were, according to the 7 Reports Tom essay, said the markets were clearly too optimistic given the multiple risks in the macro dropback. Okay, so is there anything else, Mark, that you're going to say can make a bearish argument? Now, a lot of people will refer to the price of gold going up because people invest in gold when the market, when they fear the market, they'll dump their money in gold. But again, again, just even looking at like GLD on the monthly, I have to show you that even after March 2009, where the triple Qs and spiders bottom, GLD closed at $90.28 for the month of March, ran up, doubled by 2011. And I don't need to tell you that from the market from 2009 to 2011 absolutely exploded. A low of $25.63 on the triple Qs, and all the way to 2011 when it's high in the 50s. I mean, the triple Qs and spiders more than doubled since then. Yet people will still make the argument that GLD going up is, you know, potential uncertainty in the future. And speaking about uncertainty in the future, there is actually, and I know I'm just laying it all out there and I'm breezing through it real fast, and then I'm going to explain everything behind it, an overall take on it, is the monthly global economic Policy Uncertainty Index. Yeah, try saying that 3 times fast. The monthly global economic policy uncertainty index. The guy who came up with that name was fired and sent to an insane asylum. This index is designed to measure policy related worries around the world. So this is like the global feeling of geopolitics, like something's happening in Italy, and China, and the US, and Canada, South Korea, North Korea, Iran, Middle East, Brazil, Argentina, EU, you name it. This is the index that tracks the uncertainty of it. And basically, the way the index works, if you're wondering, like, who comes out with these numbers, Mark? Well, it actually attracts, you ready for this? The amount of times newspaper articles use buzzwords related to economic and political uncertainty. I kid you not. It's an entire index based on newspaper article buzzwords. Additionally, it measures the number of tax laws set to expire and the spectrum of disagreement among economists. The more dissent between economists, the more people who are blindly bullish and blindly bearish, the higher this index goes. The index simmered in July to $280 over here, headed even higher on hopes that a trade deal, it dropped in July to 280 and then shot back up basically on the U.S. China trade deal. And we're going to um, get into that as well. Also, GDP tumbled to 5.5% gross private domestic investment. That not GDP, GPD investment, gross private domestic investment tumbled 5.5%, which is the worst quarter since 2015, according to the Commerce Department. All right, so I sat here and I just literally outlined a bunch of reasons why. I basically came out with every single argument that any economist will use right now to talk about a recession. Now, again, I don't want to say that policies can manipulate the markets, but you would have to be very, very, very delusional to think that they won't. Now, what could happen to bring back the markets and whatnot, and why you shouldn't worry about them is because everybody sees the information that you are seeing right now. The information I shared with you is not unique, it's public information. Every top person in every cabinet of every government, US, China, and beyond, see that index. I'm going to give you the most compelling reason of why we are not headed to a recession. And the reason is the biggest thing that will head us into a recession, in my opinion, is the US China trade war continuing. Why? Because you're dealing with, what is it, the number one and two economies in the world at war with each other? See, nowadays, countries are too militarily powerful. I mean, there's something called assured mutual destruction. It's not AMD, but basically, when countries have the type of nuclear armaments that we have, we don't go to war by sending missiles and troops anymore into these countries. We go to war on other things, whether it's cyber warfare or whether it's trade warfare. And these are the type of, exactly, Rich, these are the type of war games we go through. And you want to know the most compelling reason why the US China trade war is about to end? You want to know the most compelling reason? And yes, while it's heated up to its hottest point ever, I'll be the first person and I will say I would be shocked. You know what? I hate blanket statements. I like my things to work right away. By the end of the year, September, October, November, December, 4 months. Before these 4 months, could happen tomorrow, could happen right now as I speak. Between this second, 4 months, the US China trade war will end. Now, what do I mean by end? Does that mean all tariffs will be removed, Mark? Maybe, but no, I don't think so. That's not what I mean by end. What I mean is the boil up of increasing, increasing, increasing. I think we'll get one decrease, and that will signal that we're not going up anymore. And you want to know why we're going to decrease? You ready? It's all about the Benjamins, baby. And this is the US China dollar trading at the highest point now than ever for today, Monday, September 2nd. The highest point ever. $7.20 worth of Chinese yuan equal $1. It used to be $6.88. Now you might say, Mark, that's only 32 cents higher. That's 5% higher. Imagine. Without any trade wars. Let's say there are no trade wars. Everything costs 5% higher from a month ago? This thing is heating up faster than the Zimbabwe dollar. It's going to become soon cheaper to wall your house in Chinese dollars than it is to buy wallpaper and do it yourself. Okay, maybe that is a little bit of an exaggeration. But at this rate, it would happen that way. Do I think it's going to happen that way? No. I think it'll be cheaper to take your Chinese dollars and buy wallpaper than it will be to actually wall your house with Chinese yuan. That's what I think. But based on this number, it shows who's losing the war. See, people don't know. I mean, there's a lot of political posturing here. There's a lot of political posturing here. But the bottom line is, if you look even since like March and on the global scale of things, I'll move my face over. I won't shrink it, even though that would probably cause people to be less nauseous. But if you look over here in March, I mean, these Chinese dollars were like $6.67. They went up almost 10%. I'm rounding off. They went up almost 10% in a matter of March to April to May to June, July, August, September, 6 months, 10%. They are getting destroyed. If we don't solve this war, what's going to happen is China's going to start going into a recession. And for all those blind bulls out there, and for all those blind bears out there, if you think China going into a recession has no effect or little effect on the United States and we'll still be fine without them, here, let me show you this website. They sell a Chinese good or two. Let's see what this website looks like. Let's see. It's Amazon.com. Oh my God, I got scared. What is this? You know how many of these products are made in China? Most of them. The majority of the things sold here are MIC, made in China. Apple products, your Apple phone, made in China. Your Alexa, made in China. Your Google Home, made in China. Every single toy that you've seen, 80, 90% of them, made in China, even if they're US companies, because it's cheaper to make it in China, have all the labor and parts done there, and send it to the US. And if you think China is going to go into a recession and not the US, good luck. Is it going to hurt us as much? No, but a correction of the triple Qs, even if we're not in a recession, to think like the Qs can't get to like 155, 160, or the spiders can't get to like 260 from 292 would be absolutely crazy to think that that is not even in the cards of a possibility. Now, do I think we are going to go into a recession? No. Because if you base every single geopolitical policy on money, if you base every trading strategy on just making money, if everything that you do in the market is just focused on just making money, you're going to be ahead. This US-China trade war, you want to know what would scare me? Actually, none of this garbage scares me, but you want to know what would make me think that this US-China trade war isn't ready to be resolved? I'll tell you what. The US dollar yuan dropping 20, 30 cents. Then I would be like, China's going to be able to hold it out. No, what this chart says is as of today, China is closer to a tipping point now than they ever have been. And it doesn't matter the political party. We will never give in to tariffs. Yeah, okay. All right. Wait till the top people in your country around you are looking at their bank accounts plummet. How about all the wealthy Chinese investors who are buying U.S. properties? You know what happens when you go to Zillow's here in the U.S. and you want to buy U.S. properties? It's in U.S. dollars. You know how much more expensive everything that you want to buy in the US just became if you are using the Chinese yuan? They are at a tipping point. The US is winning this US China trade war. Yes, there will be casualties on both sides, financial casualties on both sides. But at this rate, if I were to use an analogy, it would be like losing 10 people here to losing like 4 or 5 million there. That is like the differential here. And nobody knows that because you're just reading the stupid headlines and you're just looking at them and you're like, oh my God, this thing could last forever. And yeah, maybe it lasts for the rest of our life. And maybe we have the two most, stubborn trade negotiators between US and China talking to each other, and they'll never get to a deal because both are trying to save face in front of their countries. No, that's not going to happen. This is what it comes down to. And the other thing it's coming down to, if you've watched the video of me interviewing the chief financial officer of Inseego, INSG, the US has been attacking Huawei. If you didn't see what Inseego did on Friday, by the way, that is a chart of Inseego. Really great interview. Really great guy. Really awesome company. I think the future of 5G. This is the best 5G play in the world, in my opinion. I'm biased. I am very biased. Yes, I did my homework. I did my research. This is by far the best 5G play on the planet. Like pure 5G play. When I say pure, it's not like, well, I want to buy a company that sells chicken, so I'll buy Amazon since I could buy chicken on Amazon. No, we're talking like pure 5G play. This is the future. And why is that important? Because you already see China taking out ad space in the US to defend Huawei, their 5G company. Have you been watching the news of what happened in Poland? The US and Poland just signed a deal to use 5G products, US 5G products in Poland. The US will win this 5G war. The US will win it. And the more and more this goes on, and the more and more you see this, the US dollar, Chinese yuan going up, the closer and closer we are to a trade deal. That's why I feel this trade deal is going to end. Trade deal. Trade war will end and a form of a deal will happen. The next thing I wanted to talk about is hurricanes. Now, if you've been watching the news at all, everybody in the United States is, where is this hurricane going? And they have, hurricane trackers, and you could see it. And I spoken to my sources out in the Bahamas, devastated. There is so much looting going on, and it's kind of crazy. And this is what I'm hearing, and I'll show you the play, and everything that I say is stock market related, by the way. But just a quick story. So I have a friend who is worth a lot of money, like mid nine figures, like a lot of money, and he has a vacation home in the Bahamas, and he was in the Bahamas because he went to vacation on the last week of August because he knows from what Mark Melnick told him that the last week of August sucks for trading. So he went to his one of his summer homes in the Bahamas, and he lives in a very, very upscale neighborhood. And what's happening around there in the streets? It's kind of crazy what people are doing. They're actually going behind walls, like sturdy walls, and they're just running around the walls. What? What? What do you mean running around the walls? He's like, they're running around the walls because the winds are so damn strong that there's money, because it's made from paper, flying against walls from the hurricane. And the people run around the wall, peel off the money, and run back behind the wall. I kid you not. There are people finding jewelry, things that don't weigh a lot, and money. And I'm just like, oh my God. It's like, I guess you can't call it looting, but like I'm sure there is some sort of that going on, but he brought that up. Anyway, I want to talk about this, and this is going to potentially decimate insurance names, and I'll give you the insurance name that I like, but everybody has been tracking this. Oh, is it category one, two, three? Oh, I heard Mark it was a category five, and now it's down, to a category four. And what does that mean? And I just thought I would show you what that means and what it's in the actual play here. So this is from weatherbug.com. Just a quick look here, and it basically shows you this part of the United States that's really going to be hit. And again, this is more of a prediction. The prediction tends to be good. The very east coast of Florida is going to get skimmed. Brunswick and Savannah will get skimmed in Georgia, but South Carolina and North Carolina and South Carolina and North Carolina are going to get slammed. And we're going to have, of course, rain. If you've been seeing even right now, like I'm in Jersey at the moment, right near New York, and I will tell you, like, we had a rainstorm today, and I'm like, what? And this thing is like 15, 18, no, actually, closer to like 2,000 miles away. I was about to say 15 to 1,800, about 2,000 miles away. And we have rain here. So this is going to actually, I hope not, cause destruction. But here is the key if you want to know the play. The more and more fear mongering you see about this hurricane, the more and more buzzwords you see and we in the Newsbeat live room will be tracking this, of course, but the more and more you see hurricane is pushing out west a little more, like towards the United States and towards the coast, the more and more I like these names short. And my favorite setup short is Allstate. And if you remember from what was it? Who remembers the name of the hurricane last year? I want to show you the thing. Who knows the names of the hurricane from last year? Was it Hurricane Maria? Was that it? Hurricane Michael? Michael, Maria, Irma? What was the I want to show you what these stocks have done. And what was the big one from 2018? It was what was the big one? What am I missing? Florence. Was it Florence? That sounds familiar. Was it Hurricane Michael? Either way, it was towards the end of last year. And yeah, I know the market was coming in, but these names got pummeled like an Allstate. I mean, you don't remember, but Allstate in a matter of a few months went from like $102 all the way to like $77, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for an Allstate, that's getting like absolutely decimated. And just looking at like Allstate right here, like especially when you zoom out, you could just see it's like at the higher end of the range. I'll show you like even a weekly. Like here's a weekly of Allstate. I'll tell you right now, especially when you get like stocks like Progressive, PGR, or ALL. I like the ALL. If this if you start reading like damage happening, and what most people are not taking into account with this also, it's very overvalued, all these insurance names right now. They're all extremely overvalued because all of them are predicting that there won't be damage. And knock on wood, I hope everyone's life is safe here. But from the market perspective, the one thing that people are not taking into consideration that even though we're probably not going to, and God forbid again, that we have anything resembling what's happening in the Bahamas right now, People are going to have flood damage. Do you realize what water damage is? Do you realize what water damage actually is? I've had water damage in my house from what was that? I forgot, one of the hurricanes that hit Jersey. Exactly. Mold. It was Sandy. It was Hurricane Sandy. There was like 2 feet of water in the basement. You know what happens when you have 2 feet of water in the basement? You want to know the smartest thing to do? You have to gut your entire house. You have to rebuild your entire home because the mold damage that's happening in the walls is toxic. It's toxic. You got to rip out everything. And if it's in the basement, what do you think the top floors stand on? The reason I'm bringing this up are people are just too rosy on the idea that these stocks will not be that negatively affected. I find it insane. I find it absolutely insane that this stock is only trading 6.5 whatever dollars, a little less than 7 points off the all-time highs. I find that miraculous. I find that miraculous that these insurance names are trading so well right now because these are the guys who are scared. And I have a source on the weather desk. I'm not going to drop the name of it, but it's a publicly traded insurance company. It's not Allstate. And I called my boy on the desk, and he said the phone is ringing off the hook because people are sitting there checking their policies, making sure it's okay. People are panicking right now, and they want to know what they're covered for. And people right now are trying to take out flood insurance and things like that right now. So they're actually getting in money as well. So it's sort of like a double-edged sword here with this hurricane play. But if you want to know my opinion, you have to be bearish in these insurance names until we know the full extent of the damage. And even if the hurricane hits as category 2 or 3 and it's not the 4 or 5 in which hit the Bahamas, for example, the amount of water damage here in the United States is going to be astronomical. Why? Why is the water damage going to be astronomical? Because do you think homes on the water are more expensive or less expensive? Waterfront properties closer to the beach tends to be a lot more expensive. And those are the houses with the insurance that are going to be covered. So, next thing I want to talk to you on the agenda was Bitcoin. A lot of you were asking me about Bitcoin last week, and somebody challenged me. They were like in the room, like everybody, like cryptocurrency is, so hot. What do you think about Bitcoin? And I came out with a video last week and said I can nail the bottom of Bitcoin, and I'll do it before it happens, and I'll do it in real time, and I'll tell you exactly how I would play it, and I would show you my approach to it. And here's the bottom line: there's an infinite number of ways to make money. There's an infinite number of ways to make money. I never will come out and say my way is the best way. The truth is, um, I do what I know is best for me, and what is best for me happens to be best for a lot of people as well. But what we did with this Bitcoin was we came out with a number and we basically said that Bitcoin was going to bounce. Here, I'll show you the chart. I showed you this. This was from last week. And I'll just put my face here. Basically, I said this was right over here, and I basically said the level breaks and heads lower, so do not buy on the support line. Buy anywhere underneath, which will be 9,200 to 9,400. Sell the majority on the first pop, and then let a runner go. So you get a little pop here, sell the majority, and then it pops up. I just want to show you what this Bitcoin chart looks like today because a lot of people were, sending me emails about this saying, how did you do this and whatnot. It's really just based off the trend line course. So remember right over here, if you don't remember, this was August 28th when we did this video. This was August 28th, so figure that was um, last Wednesday. So we did it last Wednesday, and I said I would be accurate with this call between 85 and 90% of the time. And I just want to show you what it looks like. And I said right or wrong, watch the video. I said right or wrong, I would go over it again. Um, 85 to 90%, I'm going to be right most of the time. This is August 28th, right here. The stock dipped below, hit a low of 93.21, 93.21. After it hit that bottom we called, stock, or stock, the crypto shot up to 10,486 based on the Coinbase exchange. That is how you give a real bottom in Bitcoin. Now, there's an infinite number of ways to make money in Bitcoin. There is no my way or the highway type mentality. There is no my way or the highway type mentality, but there is a lesson to be learned here. I've never traded a Bitcoin in my life. I'll be the first to admit that I wasn't even part of this. I did it more as an algorithmic trendline experiment for you guys and put myself on the line. You can watch the August 28th video if you'd like again. But what is the point I was making here by calling the bottom? The point I'm making here is there is an infinite plethora of ways to make money in the market. And this is just one of the ways I do it. What I do with these trend lines, you want to know what's the biggest scam in the world? People who draw sideways trend lines. I look at it and I'm like, huh? What? What? Or people who don't use like exact to exact, they'll just say generally like this is a support or this is a resistance. I mean, I hate to say it, it's the entire online trading academy thing. So if you go to OTA.com, it's the most popular Wall Street education, believe it or not, out there right now. They made it further than anyone else out there in the way they teach their students. And I'll be the first to say, and I'll come and I said it to their faces already in person. I said it to the entire management team and owners of the company face to face, but I'll say it right now. Complete and total, utter nonsense, garbage scam. Because people draw trend lines left to right and say, well, right over here you have a base. And it's like, huh? You need to be exact. When you call out these trend lines, you need to be exact. There's a science behind it, there's an algorithmic science behind it. So for this month coming up, I want to show you that making money is actually easy. And if you stick with the one strategy you are best at, most people find one of my strategies to be what they're best at. A lot of us find other strategies, maybe even from other services and other rooms, that they find they are best at. But once you're able to identify what you are best at, and you just do that over and over and over and over again, it's boring, it's effective, and it's your path to being consistently profitable. The consistency that is desired, the one problem with consistency is nobody out there likes to tell you the win rate. And the reason why they don't like to tell you the win rate is because it's not impressive. It's the same reason why you don't see traders posting all their losing trades on videos they do. They'll post the winners. They don't post, you'll look at the $50,000 update, but you won't see when that same trader lost $75,000 by oversizing in some of their own ideas, the very next day. It's just like zip lip. You only see it. It's almost as if all these gurus out there never lose money. And all these strategies are just the right way to do it because you know where the stop loss is and you buy at 50 and you stop at 49 and you have a take profit at 52. So again, I come from a different place. When I tell you 85 to 90% of the time I'll call that bottom in Bitcoin, what I actually mean is if I did this for another 100 times, I would be wrong at worst about 15 of them on a 100 sample size position, calling the bottom of Bitcoin. And how did I call the bottom? I told you it was going to break 9480, and I said you could buy anywhere underneath 92 to 9400. That to me is how you call a bottom. And it doesn't matter whether you paid 9400 or 9350 or 9320. Doesn't matter how far it went down because if you actually went ahead and bought that Bitcoin, you nailed the dead bottom of the range. And I'll be able to do this again for you. I'll be able to come to you with a chart like this and do it again. It's easy. It's easy once you understand the algorithmic methodology behind it. And people don't like showing win rates because, very simply so, people don't have win rates that are worth boasting about. Us traders, people in my field, love to boast about what they do well. There's a day where I made this much. Or how many things online do you see with a person behind their Ferrari or on a yacht or a private plane which they rented or bought a plane ticket on, and then they act like and they show them on the plane like inside with like a bottle of champagne in front of them. Who on earth drinks champagne when you're on an airplane? I mean, maybe those like little vodka bottles if like you have a screaming kid next to you. But like champagne, it's like champagne. What are you doing? I'm going on a flight from from Boston to LA. Like you want to drink champagne, man? Okay, dude. And you know that's not real champagne. You know that's sparkling wine. Anyway, that's what people do to pitch things out there. But I'm going to try a different pitch here. I'm going to try a different pitch here. I'm going to tell you this. Doesn't matter where you came from. Doesn't matter if you have a $500,000 account that went to 20,000 or a $20,000 account that went to 500,000 or anything in between or anything above or below. That doesn't matter. What I am telling you right now is I am going to go for the highest hit rate possible in the month of September. I want to win more than I lose. The amount of money, irrelevant to me. Absolutely irrelevant. If you could apply this methodology, the amount of money you can make will be completely dependent on your account size and your comfortability with the risk. If you're going heavier on a smaller account, you can make more than somebody going smaller on a heavier account. If you just focus on being right, losing less, making more when you're right, losing less when you're wrong, which is a very hard thing, very easy to say. If you focus on batting over 70%, a lot of us were batting over 90% in August. It was just phenomenal. And people don't realize you could bat over 80% and have 100% winning days for the month. Like that's the beautiful thing. Like when I batted 100% last month, September 2nd today, right? When I batted 100% last month, by nowhere near did I have 100% winning trades. I was batting in the high 80s. But you can have 100% winning days with an 80% hit rate. And that's the important thing to know. I want to bring good ideas. Did you like the Macy's chatter? You know how many of you I'm going to carry on my backs this month with a single play, with a single intraday play with zero overnight risk? You know how many of you I'm going to carry? My guess, at least 12 to 1500 of you on one idea. I have that feeling. Now, granted, there'll be a lot more than these one ideas, but the type of news flow that we get early, we're beating every news service out there. The type of algorithmic analysis that we give, like in Bitcoin, is just a stupid example. We called other things on the dead bottom as well. And not only that, I will spend every single day for this month helping anybody who wants to strive towards that conviction level minimally 5 days a week. Minimally, I will help you reach your goals 5 days a week. You'll come to me with an issue you have. You'll come to me with a problem you have. A lot of the problems, it's the first time that's ever happened in my 12 years. The majority of problems that I've dealt with for the month of August were people making money and they didn't know what to do. Like one guy, I'm not going to drop his name, went from like, he was up like 52,000 and then he had a week where he lost like 11 grand and he was just devastated over it. Getting people like that back on track, even though they're up like 40 plus for the month. And that's the first time that has ever happened in my 12 years as a broadcaster that I ever dealt with issues like that. That's why I did a video. That's why I did a video on Sunday, which was called The Fear of Winning. And I tried to address that answer in a blank information. But this coming month, Newsflow will be coming back. Is it coming back on Tuesday? No, rarely. Usually the first day of the month sucks, but who knows? Usually the last week of August really sucks. But I was very happy with my results for the last week of August. So, again, you can't really predict what happens in the future, but you can absolutely predict for how you will handle it when it gets there. Are you interested in the things I sell? Are you interested in the things I say? Maybe you want to try one of my services or any of my other fellow comrades here at T3. And you could just literally go to t3live.com if you're interested in any of our services. A lot of great stuff here, and you just literally click right here. It's the last day to do it. I'm telling you now because we always get people signing up after. It's the last day to do it. Just go to t3live.com and click on this button. Visit our storefront. Labor Day specials happening now. And if you're interested in my product or again any of the other products here at T3, you can go ahead and click it. You even have, of course, the Newsbeat live room, which is, where is that? Algorithmic trend lines. Right here, Newsbeat live annual shows 1995. You click it, you add it to cart, and it comes out to 11.97 right there. So you get the 40% off at the checkout. That goes for myself and all my fellow workmates here at T3. Definitely sign up. It's definitely worth the value. We're going to be bringing you that and so much more, including our new anti-tilt system, which will be implemented hopefully early next week. It's actually a system designed to stop you from having those huge blowout days. It's the first system of its kind. It's scientifically proven, and it is probably going to be the most effective thing in the world to prevent you from tilting. We're going to be bringing you that and so much more. I hope you guys enjoyed the Newsbeat show. Thumbs up this video if you liked it. Happy trading, make money. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning on the Newsbeat Live trading broadcast. Keep in mind, deal ends tonight for Labor Day. Hope you had a wonderful Labor Day. Stay dry if you're on the East Coast. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.